According to the BLS, the US national average salary in 2020 was $56,310. The average personal saving rate is around 8%, which means that every year on average you could invest around $4,505. This means that it would take you 13 years to reach your first $100,000. But what if I told you that the second $100,000 would take only 6 years? And the third one only 4 years? In this video, we are going to find out why the first 100k is the hardest one and why you should do everything you can to get it as quickly as possible. The answer to this question is the compounding effect. Let's say that you are an average American investing $4,505 per year. Since we like averages, let's say that our return each year is 8%, which is the average annual return for S&P 500 index. This means that after investing $4,505, you will get around $360 return after the first year. Now, this sounds like absolutely nothing. You could work 30 extra hours in a year to make more than that, so why bother? Well, if you keep on investing for, let's say 30 years, you will end up with over $551,000. With an 8% return, you are now making $44,000 a year with just your investments, which would be a little more work than those 30 extra hours. Unless you have a very good salary. As Charlie Munger, a billionaire investor, businessman and the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway said, the first $100,000 is a but you gotta do it. I don't care what you have to do, if it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on $100,000. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit. This quote is very true, as you can see, with investing $4,505 a year, it will take you 13 years to get that first $100,000. But after you have that $100,000, you are able to invest that $4,505 plus that return of $8,000 that you get from your investments. This means that you are now able to invest $12,000 a year, which means that the next $100,000 only takes 6 years to get. Sounds simple, so what is the problem? Here is John, who just finished college at the age of 23 with an average student loan of $32,731. Luckily, he immediately got a job and started to pay off his student loan. While paying off his student debt, he met a lovely girl called Jennifer. By the age of 28, John finally managed to pay off all the student loan he had, so he and Jennifer decided that they want to buy a house and went to the bank to get a mortgage of $400,000. Since they both are earning around $5,000 a month, they earn more than they have to pay off their mortgage. This makes John question why would they drive a Toyota Hybrid when they could also buy a nicer car for $43,000. Since they both need cars to go to work, they decide to upgrade both of their cars. Now life is great. They have a nice house and 2 fancy cars, but something is missing. No, not that. Nope, not that either. Ah, that's right. Say hello to Jack and Jessica. Now, for the next 10 years, everything is fine. John and Jennifer are making exactly the right amount of money to keep up their lifestyle, but then something happens. They both get a pay rise at the work. Why would they live in this house any longer when they could buy this one instead? It would be even easier to park the new cars here, since those two are getting pretty old already. Do you see where this is going? Every time we start to have any extra money, we immediately want to upgrade our lifestyle, which leaves us with no extra money. We continue this for our whole life without even noticing until something terrible happens. We get fired from our job, we need to pay our medical bills, or we just want to retire but can't afford to do so without downgrading our lifestyle. But what if it doesn't have to be like this? So what is the solution? Sell the house, tell your wife and kids you will come back in 30 years, knock on your parents' door and ask if the basement where you used to play video games 16 hours a day is still empty. No, you don't have to do that. What you have to do is simply wait a few years before you start the lifestyle John and Jennifer had. Do you really need to try that Tesla Model X SUV instead of the Toyota Hybrid? Or do you really need to have this house instead of this house if you are living alone? As Charlie Munger said, do everything to get your first $100,000, then you can ease off the gas a little bit. Let's say that you decide to live at a smaller house for a couple of years longer with your old car and are able to invest $10,000 a year. This would mean that it will take you a little over 7 years to get your first $100,000. As a reminder, with the average investment of $4,505, it took us 13 years to get the first $100,000. So the difference is around 6 years, almost 2 times faster. But what if you actually listen to Charlie Munger and decide to live extremely frugally and trying to reach that 100k as fast as possible? You decide that you are working whenever possible, you move to live in a small house with roommates and invest everything you possibly can. In this case, let's say it means that you are investing $20,000 per year. Now it will take you only around 4 years to get the first $100,000. For comparison, let's take a look at how your wealth grows with each of these methods if you started investing at the age of 20. At the age of 21, the difference is obviously not that much, just a couple $1,000s. At the age of 25, the difference is massive already. Investing $20,000 for 5 years ends up with almost $126,700, whereas the average investor only has $28,500. In just 5 years, the difference is already $100,000. Since this extreme guy already has $100,000 invested, they decide to step off the gas and only invest at average of $4,505 per year from now on. Let's take a look at only these two now. They are both 25 years old and investing $4,505 a year. How much money will they have when they are 30 years old? The difference here is already over $150,000. By the age of 40, the difference is already over $300,000. With just 5 years of hardcore saving, the difference is hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run. Let's take a look at these numbers in percentages, because that is actually kinda mind-blowing to see. If you want to become a millionaire, it would take you 37.2 years to do that, with investing an average of $4,505 per year. This means that the first 100k is 34.1% of the time needed to become a millionaire. In fact, the first 200k takes longer than the last 800k. Because of this, you should do everything you can to get that first 100k as quickly as possible. It really takes over a third of the time required for $1 million. Fun fact, after 37.2 years, you have only invested $167,600 of your own money, meaning that your money worked for you, making over $830,000. Yeah, all this sounds very fascinating on theory, but how can I make that kind of money? Good question, let me share a couple of tips with you. Okay, so first of all, we only have one thing that we really have to do, which is starting to invest. If you want to get started with investing, you can check my other video in the top right corner, but in short, you could, and even probably should, dump all your money into the S&P 500 index fund. At least when you're starting to invest. This is not investment advice, but it is the easiest method ever, and most financial advisors would tell you to do that. Then we only have one problem. We need to make as much money as possible while spending as little money as possible. To make more money, you could try to switch your job to a higher paying job, start a weekend job, start a side hustle, sell your kidney. Oh, wait, what? You get the point. Just try to make more money. Then just try to spend less money. However, from personal experience, I am not going to tell you to stop buying coffee from Starbucks for the next 13 years. After all, you also want to enjoy your life. Let's be honest, most of us will probably just give up if we try to save every cent possible. Of course, it's better to cook at home for 10 years in a row, but no, it won't kill you if you go to a restaurant every now and then. Try to focus on the largest 3 expenses, the big 3 that take most of your budget. For most of us, these are housing, transportation, and food. If you manage to save even a couple of $100 more per year, it makes a huge difference in the long run, and won't sacrifice your lifestyle too much. Here is just a quick graph showing how big of a difference the amount of money you are able to invest makes in the long run. Good luck with your investments. If you want to see more videos like these, hit the like button and subscribe, and don't forget to check this video right here to see how you can start investing with just $10. Thank you for watching, have a great day, bye.